Welcome to the Jointery podcast, a podcast where we study the lives of study the lives of two dads trying to find the balance between the families, hobbies and work. This week on the Jointery, we discover
it's like going to Home Depot just to get hot dogs and not knowing that they sell lumber.
Let's search for the meaning of life as it has never been witnessed before. The Jointery podcast.
3, 2, go, Ben, go.
We are here live. No, I'm just joking. What's up, guys? Welcome back, dude.
I'm live from my home office, and I don't know if you can hear Elvis breathing and farting or not, but like he's sitting next to me, and I swear to God, it sounds like he has a CPAP machine on.
It is like got to be like so dangerous for you to walk into that room at some point, because you guys, I'm assuming the door's closed when he's in there with you, and like if you were to leave the room and then come back in, if you don't have a gas mask, oh my goodness, that must be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small room. It's like maybe 8 by 8 maximum, and like it would be hard to put a queen size bed in this room.
Oh yeah. And
there's no ventilation in here. And when he rips ass, I mean he's within 3 feet of me, and that fart just comes like rolling out of his ass, and it just creeps up on you, and by time it hits your nose, it's too late. There's no escaping it.
Yeah, it's
like you could leave the room, it's gonna follow you. Like
he's a big dog, man, too. 110 pounds. I mean, that's like another human laying next to you, just farting all the time.
Oh, dude! Like last night, I went to go to bed, and he's about to turn 11, right? So the fact that he could still jump up on the bed is pretty impressive.
Oh yeah,
you know. And so like I get there, and he's like laying on the bed, and I'm like, dude, you take up way too much room. Like I can't even like straighten my legs if he's in the bed. So I'm like, dude, you gotta go, man. Like, you know. And it's like, oh God, it's like having a kid in the bed whose fingernails and toenails are completely grown into like spikes.
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Oh
no,
God.
He's way too big to be in bed with you. There's no way, man.
No.
There's no possible way. My little mini Australian Shepherd jumps into bed with us, and I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah, dude. Like even the Senji, who's 25 pounds, jumps into bed, and it's like he'll wedge himself into the most uncomfortable position, and I don't know how this little dog gets like to 150 degrees, but he's like a small space heater. So like in the wintertime, it's like, okay, fine, that's fine. But in the summertime, oh my God, dude, you'll wake up in a puddle of sweat and like, what the hell happened?
It's like Frankie. We talked about this before. He's like a freaking heater, man. Anytime he comes and hugs me or jumps in bed with us or anything, it's just like a immediate, heater in the bed with you. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So how was your week, man? You just had a really cool experience, was it not last night but the night before?
Yeah.
And you were like super excited. You were telling me you were actually going out. You're going to go spend some time with the wife outside the house. No kids.
No, it was amazing. So we went to go see a concert, and it was like, I was thinking about it, dude, and I don't know. Because, like, I worked at radio stations, right? So I've been to a ton of concerts.
Yeah.
But, like, sitting in the crowd to see a concert at a stadium show, I think the last concert I went to was the Watch the Throne tour. And even that was in a skybox. It wasn't, like, in the crowd.
Yeah,
so this was, like...
amongst the people.
Yeah, with the people. Like, with the people.
Yeah, with the people.
Yeah, so this is my first concert that I couldn't even tell you how long it's been with the people in an arena. I think the last one might have been Eric Clapton when he was like doing his like Crossroads tour.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Well, yeah, and I only saw that because my dad and my mom were having a fight that day, and they were supposed to go to this concert. My dad just calls me up. He's like, "Why don't you? Your mom and I are getting along today." He's like, "You want to go to see Eric Clapton?" I'm like, "Yes,
of course."
Like, yeah. So it was Tyler the Creator, and oh God, Vince Staples, who we missed, because we showed up too late, and it was another artist who I don't know who she is. I could look it up. Tyler the Creator tour. I can look her up. I'm gonna try to look her up real quick. So I know one of her songs only from the chorus of it, which was is very popular, like TikTok song, right?
Oh, so she's one of those. She's got one of the hits,
Well,
the
I think
TikTok hits.
she definitely has a TikTok hit
Yeah,
because it was
yeah.
funny. Like I was listening that one song. I listened to like when that song started, a good 30 seconds of that song before the hook came in, and it wasn't until the hook came in where I'm like, oh yep, I've seen this before.
But yeah, Debbie and I were talking about that last night because there's that song that we like on Instagram on one of the reels we always hear it, and I went to search it to find the song like in real life, like
Yeah.
in IRL, you know what I mean, like outside of it.
We're
And
so hip.
yeah, I'm using those acronyms, man.
Yeah.
And only the hook was good. The rest of the song was just like, whatever. It was all right. But that hook that they use on that song,
It's all about the hook, man.
Yeah, man, it's just crazy. It's like these people are getting having these hits, but they're not like they're just segments of the song that are popular. The rest of the song, that used to be how albums were. Like albums used to be just the hits. Like you would just find the few hits, and then the rest of the album was garbage. Kids today don't even know what an album is, so they don't understand what I'm talking about. But you used to buy songs by the album, not just by the track.
And like going to this concert, like I knew none of the songs. I knew very little about. I mean, Jackie was laughing because she retold my joke like to at least 3 or 4 people. I heard her say it, and she's like, "Oh, Luke had the funniest dad joke today. I told him we got tickets to see Tyler, the Creator, and he said I'm not familiar with anything he's created before." And she told everyone. So we went with my brother and sister-in-law, and so it was the 4 of us, and we got tacos before, and then we went. Yeah, they were okay tacos.
Oh, okay.
And then but the show was probably the best concert I've ever been to.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. I mean, like
you had great seats. You sent me a photo of where your seats were in compared to the stage. So you had great seats. So I mean, that alone speaks to having a good time at the show, right?
Oh yeah, we were front row in the first like tier of section. So it was like section 108, but we were first row in there. So it was like a railing in front of us,
Yeah, oh yeah, I love the railing.
And but yeah, our seats were great. The music was great. The production, like, cause I've been backstage at a lot of concerts, right?
Yeah.
The production that they pulled off was incredible, right? And his stage and Tyler's stage in particular was possibly the coolest stage I've ever seen. I mean, it was like a giant 2-story house with these huge trees behind it, and the trees were actually a screen, so they were constantly changing colors and changing with the scene, and the house lit up, and it had fire and fireworks and like. But the coolest part of the whole thing was that like they had a second stage that was on the opposite end of it was in the United Center, so like where one
the other side of the arena,
the other side of the floor of the arena,
and
it was like just a square stage, a rectangular stage, and they just put like grass on it. And I was thinking to myself, like, how is he going to get from the main stage to this stage? And he did it by boat.
Wait, was it actually floating in water?
No, so like what they did was like a quarter of the way through his performance, they put up divider walls that stretched from the stage all the way to the other stage, right down the middle of the arena.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And it was like maybe 15 feet wide, and it had barriers on each side. And they had a boat that I couldn't see it that well, but I'm assuming it was kind of like if you took a lowrider, right?
Okay.
And you took off the car portion of it, and you put a boat on there, and it was like one of those classic wooden, like 4-person boats, right?
Yeah,
They're
like
really nice,
like a motorboat.
Yeah, from like the 80s or something, or
Yep,
70s. But basically, so this boat was like hydraulic lifting and moving around and stuff.
Oh wow!
And he rode that out to the middle of the
arena.
He did a couple songs from the boat, and then he got to the island, and then he basically like walked around the island for 3 or 4 songs, and then he rode the boat back.
Wow!
It was really cool though.
Did he crash it?
I mean, no, someone else is driving it.
We're only interested in boat crashing stories on this podcast.
Yeah, yeah. This is the most successful boat story that we could ever have on this podcast. It was incredible. But like, also, what was fascinating to me was the people there. Like, I love people watching.
Oh yeah.
And I generally don't love big crowds, but this was a very young, nice, respectful crowd. Like, to give you an example, okay? Here we go rolling in. It's the four of us. My wife and I were both over 40, right? My brother-in-law is in his late 30s with his wife is the same age. I think he's in the late 30s. So we roll in, right? And my wife and his wife, my sister-in-law, were like, we want to get shirts, right? So we see like where they're selling the stuff, okay? And they're just kind of standing there like looking at the shirts, and there's like a little crowd there. What it looked like when we're paying attention. So I'm like, look, I'm not going to get a shirt. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. And I come out of the bathroom, and there's this gigantic line. Like you're talking about like the line stretched like for an arena, right? It's stretched like 4 sections long. Okay? It's a huge line. And I'm like, where's this line going? And it led right to the concession stand where they're buying the shirt. So my wife and my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law jumped this gigantic line of people, right? That the line would have been 45 minutes to buy anything.
Oh, wow.
At least. And they jumped the entire line, okay? And I'm like they're like next in line to buy something. I'm like, did you guys see like the 150 people here waiting in line to buy shirts? Like, did you notice it? And they're like, too late, we're buying our shit, we gotta go. I'm like,
so they just walked straight to the front, or the line formed after them?
I don't know. I just did like. There was way too many people to form in the time that I went to the bathroom.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So they had skipped this gigantic line, but like the people didn't even like make an ugly face at them. Like,
yeah, I was just about to say that's the type of crowd it was that nobody, dude, out here in LA that happens. Oh hell no,
dude. Like I was sitting, like I was at the, there's like a 20-year-old, 4-year-old, 25-year-old girl sitting next to me at the concert, like at the other side, and like I had sat down and I was wearing this bomber jacket and it was like cutting into my shoulder, and so my arm started losing feeling, right? So I was like, I need to stretch this arm out, right? I took the coat off. I'm like, I need to stretch it out for a minute. And like I looked at the girl sitting next to me and I was like, hey, do you mind if I put my arm on the back of your chair? She was like sitting on the edge of her seat, right? So she wasn't even using I'm like leaned back all the way. My legs are spread out all man spreading everywhere. But like, so like, I was like, I felt very modern, mature, responsible. So I asked her, I'm like, do you mind if I put my arm in the back of her chair? And her look on her face was like, that is the most respectful thing I've seen a man do of all time. So yes, you feel free to put your arm anywhere you want to. And I was like, cool. But it was like the nicest crowd. Like,
that's crazy. What kind of? I mean, I know it's like hip hop, right? Tyler.
Yeah. It was it's hip hop, and I would say that Kali Uchis was like a pop like a pop singer, and Vince Staples is a rapper.
Tyler Creator, though, he's been out for quite some time, right? So he's his crowd, his group. Like, I always think about this, right? Like the artists when they first came out, because he's been, I don't know, I'm totally guessing 5 years, 10 years he's been,
dude, who knows?
Scene.
But everybody there knew every word to every song he sung.
His crowd may have grown up, you know what I mean, with him. You know what I'm saying? So like,
it's possible. It was a young crowd, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, 18.
It wasn't as young as the crowds that used to be when I was working at the pop music station.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like that where like the average age was like 14, I'd say the average age here was like right around 21. But one thing that I found fascinating is I did not see a lot of people drinking beers.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of people eating ice cream.
What about the marijuana smell? Were they smoking it inside the concert?
So that's another thing. So everybody there was smoking weed pens.
Yeah, that makes sense these
right?
days.
So like the parking lot smelled like a good traditional weed, right?
Yeah.
But when I got into the show, and it's legal here, right? So I brought my pen with me because I was like, there's no way I'm going to be sober for this, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so like when I got through, you had to go through the metal detector, right? And I was like, I had this moment where I'm like, do I put my pen there or do I let them find it and then have to explain some shit? And I'm like, but it's legal here. So I'm like, fuck it, let's just go. And so I threw it in there with my wallet, my car keys, and whatever. But it was funny though. The guy, as always, the guy who was like the security guard did not assume I was with my wife, right? So like my wife was in front of me, and this happens everywhere we go. So my wife's in front of me, so she puts her wallet in there, and it's like it slides down, and then it kind of pulls up at the bottom. It's like a giant checkmark shaped thing that's in between.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so she drops her stuff in, it slides down so she could grab it when she comes on the other side. So I dropped my stuff in, and the guy jumped in front of me and like threw his hand in there to prevent our stuff from commingling.
Shut up. Are you serious?
Yeah, and I was like, I kind of looked at the guy, and I was like, I don't got time to explain this to you, bro. So I'm like, whatever, man. I'm like, I get it. You don't think that the fat bearded white guy could be with the hot black girl. I get it. Like, that's fine. Like, so...
Yeah.
Like, this is my life. So I'm like, no one will believe. Look, I'm the guy who's like, I got this story, and I was like, no one's gonna believe me. There's no one gonna fucking believe me.
I was actually about to ask you to, because there's there are people who are going to listen to this who don't know you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you not explaining it. I'm glad you explained it. So
yeah, my wife and I look. I'll lay it out for everybody. I've been married for over 10 years to my wife. Okay, she's black. I'm white, and I'm Jewish, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And we have the 2 kids.
I think that's the
nobody
same.
ever assumes.
I think that's still the same, right? You're Jewish.
Yeah.
You're still Caucasian.
Yeah, it all depends because some people don't like Jewish people, even if they are white. Like, so, trust me, I run into them a lot.
Oh my god.
But nobody ever assumes we're together. So, like, when we go to like restaurants together, I'll be a gentleman and I'll let them I'll drop them off in front and I'll go park the car, right?
Yes.
But a lot of times I'm really good. I learned magic parking from a gypsy. So,
what's this?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's a whole parking. I could change your life with parking strategy. Okay,
right, we'll get into that later, but I definitely want to hear that.
Yeah. So like, but I'll like park like right in front of the restaurant. Okay, and I'll get out of my car and they're still at the host stand. Okay, and I'll walk in behind them, and they'll be like, I'm sorry, ma'am, but we can't seat you until your whole party's here, right? And she's like, well, we are all here. And she's like, well...
They just think you're standing too close to them or something?
Yeah, like I have to, like, touch my kids to get them to think that maybe I'm with them, and it's like, so, yeah. So then basically she's like, well, we are all here. And then I'm like... And then the lady will, like, look at me, and she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm with them. I'm with them. This is my wife.
Have you thought about matching outfits? I'm just saying that might help out a little bit.
I mean, I just need to get a shirt that says like I'm with the hot chick and the weird kids. Like, like you look at Bubs, okay? Like my daughter and I look kind of similar. If like potentially we look similar, I think. But my son and I, he looks a lot like my wife. He has the same hair. He's got the same forehead. Like.
No, but your guys' face, you and Bubs, like, definitely look like each other. Like, for sure. When I see him, I see you. If you put glasses on him, I think he'd look just like you.
Dude, no one. You're the only person in history that has ever assumed that kid might be with me. Plus,
well, I mean, obviously, the color of skin, Luke, is a big. You know what I mean? Like that is like the big deterrent in that. That's your problem. I mean, that's.
But if you looked at him, you might think he's like Puerto Rican or something. Like he's very fair skinned. So it's
that's true. That is true.
I'm like, so like I don't know. No one ever assumes that we're together, and so like at the concert, it was like it. I only pick up on it because this type of stuff has been happening to me for over, we've been together 13 years or something like that. And like, I never noticed like the people said like, oh, you're in a interracial relationship, like people staring at you or looking at you or looking funny. Most of the time, it's like I see dudes checking out my wife, and I'm like, yo, I'm with her, I'm right here, and they're like, yo, man, could you move out the way? I need to talk to this girl real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm like. That's my fucking wife. Like, no, dummy. Like, or I just let him go. I'm like, fine, go ahead, waste your fucking time talking to my wife.
Exactly. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's the way I would go about it. I'm just like, yeah, go ahead, try what you want to try. It's not gonna work.
Enjoy this. Yeah, have fun, bro. Like, can't wait to see you get shot down. Look, she's shooting me down on a regular. Like, shooting down a stranger is like zero effort for her. Like, it's like as much effort as waking up but not getting out of bed. It's like that's how much energy she puts into it.
So the concert was good.
It was incredible, and like I'll probably be talking about this concert for years.
I'll tell you straight up, when you first said Tyler the Creator, you're going to see Tyler the Creator. In my head, the only like the famous Tyler I always go to Tyler, the guy who creates all the TV shows. What the hell's his last name? Now I'm blanking it.
Oh, Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry, thank you. So as soon as you said you're going to see a show and you said Tyler, in my head I immediately went to Tyler Perry. And then you said concert, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." But I was I always get those two names confused at first. But I'm glad you had a good time, man. I'm glad it was a good show. I mean, it was a good experience.
And it's like we haven't really done anything like that since COVID started.
Of course.
So like it was really like we both walked out of there and we're like, we need to start going back to more concerts. I don't love the big arena shows typically. I like a bar show,
Yeah. I don't like people either, so.
Yeah, like like I was like, look, can we do a comedy show next time, or like, if I'm going to see somebody I know nothing about, I probably would prefer to see a comedian than a musician.
You said you don't follow his career either necessarily.
I mean, no, Tyler. Tyler the Creator. No, I mean I'd heard his name before. Like it wasn't like Kali Uchis where I was like, excuse me, like what did you say? Like Kali Uchis? That's do you spell that? Like
yeah. Did you recognize any of the hits? Like, did you recognize anything?
No.
Oh, okay.
None.
Okay.
And like. It's funny. So like we're on the way home, and I said, "Can you play some of Tyler's music so I could like hear it like the Spotify
how
version
it actually a real not the live version, but yeah."
And I like heard songs that I remembered from the concert, but like I still couldn't tell you the hook on any song that he does.
Yeah. I know. I hear you.
I could like any of the people there, but like that said though, that like one of the other best concerts I went to it was Garth Brooks. And I went to see a Garth Brooks show like probably 20 years ago, and it was the most incredible show I'd ever seen. And I knew none of the lyrics to any of the songs except for "I Got Friends in Low Places." And
dude, that dude is an entertainer, man. That guy is like balls to the wall the whole show. Like my mom used to be a huge Garth Brooks fan, and she bought the VHS at that time, the VHS tape of his concert, and she used to play it all the time.
And that's what Tyler's like. And like Tyler, the other part that blew me away about Tyler, and we could move on for this subject after this, was that he was the only one on stage. Like there was no dancers. There was no other rappers on there with him. It was him alone, and he was wearing penny loafers with white socks that went up almost all his knees, like shorts, a T-shirt with like a Hawaiian shirt over it, and like one of those Russian hats with the ear flaps, and like what? That was it. Yeah, that was it though. Like I asked Jackie, I'm like, when is the last time you went to an arena show and there was only one person on stage? Like it would have to be like a comedian, right? Like because like when the girl was on Kelly Uchis was on stage, she had like 5 backup dancers, which by the way, they were in incredible shape. Holy hell, yeah. I mean, only from the sense they were wearing like head to toe red something, and but they danced the entire time for her entire set. Jesus. Like physically, I was like, dear God, like I climbed up those stairs to get to my seat, and I was like, I could sit down. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah. Well, that's why they're professional dancers. You know what I mean? They
yeah.
they do it a lot.
It's a young person sport, man. That's all I gotta say.
It's a young person's sport. No, yeah, that must be crazy to be the only person on stage in an arena, like on the only person. Like that must be just a weird experience. You know what I mean? Like you talk about the confidence you must have to do that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and he was a very good entertainer. So it was a really amazing experience. I'm really glad we did it. I was not really looking forward to it. So yeah, it was great. It was great. So
that's awesome, man. I'm glad. I've been to a lot of concerts as well, and because I did radio for years as well. So I currently still work in that industry. So I've been able to go see a bunch of shows and stuff, and it's fun, man. Getting out, getting to see music live, is a lot of fun, dude. It's a good experience.
When's the last time though you went to an arena show where you had no radio privileges? And I mean, like they gave you 2 tickets and said, "Have fun."
Wow. I went and saw.
Right.
I think before Penny was born, we went and saw Sparta play. No, Muse. We went and saw the band Muse play. But no, I got those tickets from the radio station. No, I don't remember, man. To be honest, it's been a long time. Because maybe prior to working in radio, I went to see the Steve Miller Band play out here, and the Doobie Brothers opened for him, and that was a fucking great concert. That was a
man,
fun
talk
one.
about the weed at a show. Woo, man.
There was whole families, like entire hippie little families sitting on the grass area passing joints around, like the whole the kids, everybody. I was just like, oh, this is a crazy experience. I can't even imagine what a Grateful Dead show must have been like. You know what I mean? Like back in the day.
Oh my God, dude! I went to a Dead show. I actually didn't go to the Dead show. I went. Well, I went to the Dead show.
You probably didn't make it inside.
Dude, it was okay. I did not go inside, right? So it was the craziest fucking thing. Oh my God, dude. I can't even believe this. I have not told this story in decades. So I was at college at Ball State, okay? And it was summer break, and like it was right after my freshman year, and I told my parents, "Hey, look, I'm going to stay at school for the summer, take some more classes. I'm going to work up here, and this is going to be." But all of my friends went home for the summer except for my drug dealer, right? Except for the guy I was buying weed from, okay?
Perfect.
And he used to come by, but he was bored as fuck too, so he would just hang out at my house, and we would just get high all the time on his supply, right? And one day he comes, he's
perfect.
like, yeah, he's like, let's go see the Dead. And I was like, do you got tickets? He's like, we don't need tickets. Let's just go. I'm like, fuck it. That's a good enough reason for me, right? So we hop in by a Suzu Amigo, okay, and this is in Muncie, Indiana. And the concert was like, it kind of like an outdoor music festival kind of an area, right?
Yeah,
but it was like 45 minutes away. So we roll up to the place and we park in the grass. He immediately meets these 2 girls and drops like 2 hits of acid, okay? I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, so I was just getting high, drinking beer, walking around, and like people were tripping out and going crazy. And then he's, and I got pretty fucked up and I lost him at one point, right? And then all of a sudden he rolls up to me. He's like, yo, he's like, concert's over. We got to go to the next location, which, by the way, I have a firm no next location policy at my age currently. But at the time, I was like, fuck yeah, next location. I'm like, but dude, I'm pretty fucked up. I don't think I could drive, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, you don't have to worry about it, man. It's just a caravan full of cars. All you got to do is make sure not to hit the car in front of you and not let the car behind you hit you, and we're good. And I'm like, man, it makes sense to me, right?
Oh my God.
So, like, I remember following this caravan of cars to a campground, okay? And we get to this campground, and I park the car there, and there's all these hippie vans and all the people who, like, tour around with the Dead are there, okay? And I was, like, starving at the time, and I was just really high and pretty drunk, and, like, I was like, man, I need to find some food. And I ended up trading a 22-ounce beer for a burrito, right? That some dude gave me out of the back of his van. Okay.
Okay.
Look,
That sounds like
time,
a fair trade to me. I mean, let's be real.
dude. And at the time, and then some other guy hands me a giant, those like punching bags, like those punching balloons, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So some dude's like, "Yo, bro," he goes, "You want this nitrous?" And I was like, "I never tried nitrous before. Why not?" Right?
Oh my god.
So I take it back to my car and I take a huge hit of it in my car seat and I almost pass out. Right? And I'm like zoned out there. My brain is almost like. It took me a while to recover from that. And by the time I did, though, I looked to my right and sitting in the passenger seat is my buddy, right? But he is wigging out, okay? He's like sitting in the car seat and he's got his knees in his chest and he's like rocking back and forth. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, yo, man. I'm like, you okay? And he like jumps up. He's like, he slams his head back into the headrest and then slams his head into the dashboard.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and he pops up and he starts hyperventilating, like, I'm like, yo, like, what the fuck, man? Are you all right? He was like, I was trapped on this giant L that was rocking back and forth. He goes, and I couldn't get off of it. And then you reached down from outer space and you grabbed my shoulder and you shook me off of it. And I fell off this thing into this thing. And he goes, I just hit my head on something. And I'm like, yo, it was the dashboard. He was like, okay. I'm like, oh my God. Like, son of a bitch.
Dude.
Yeah. So, like, next thing I know, some point after that, I passed out in the car. Okay. And I woke up and it was, I look at my first reaction is where am I? Right.
Yeah, of course.
And it was like everything. I was hungover. I just had all this shit lingering in my brain. And I was like, well, I'm on Earth. I know that. I'm like, and I'm pretty sure I'm in the United States. And I was like geographically like a Google map zooming into my location.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, I'm at this campground. Fuck. And I look at the clock on my car and I'm like, holy shit, it's like 10:30. I'm like, I got like a final exam for like a college midterm, whatever, or like a midterm exam, like at like 11 o'clock. And it's like 40 minutes to get back to where we live.
Oh my god!
And the test was in like 30 minutes, and I was like, "Holy shit, we gotta go! We gotta go!" And he's just like, he looked like somebody had like brought him to my car in a garbage bag and then dumped it out onto my front seat. I mean,
yeah.
like, he really he was in poor shape, and I drove back like in the most pain I could imagine, hungover wise, and like I ended up not making my test. I was able to redo it. I gave some stupid ass college excuse.
Yeah, of course.
I had explosive diarrhea last night, and from eating pizza, at the Greek, downtown, and any teacher would be like, "Well, I get that. That place is disgusting." So, yeah, it was. So, like, anyways, like anytime the Grateful Dead pops up, like I immediately go to the front seat of that car with him wigging out, because it was just so, like, I was like, God damn, like I remember thinking afterwards, I'm like, we need to get our shit together. Not now, not like soon, but eventually we're gonna have to get our shit together because we can't sustain this. Like
that same situation was happening in multiple cars around every Dead concert.
Dude, like when we were pulling out, like people are like sleeping on the ground next to tents and stuff, and like
they couldn't quite make it. They didn't quite make it.
No, like I couldn't unzip my tent last night, so I just slept on the gravel driveway. It's like, cool, man. Like
the fact that
it's like
I love the idea that you knew you had a midterm test the next day, and you thought it was a good idea to go to a Dead concert, a Grateful Dead concert.
I didn't know. I did not assume. Like, man, look, like I was. It was a time of my life where I was like, the experience is probably going to outweigh the consequences. So let's just go.
I love you.
So I look at Yeah, it's like I look at Bubs and I'm like, you are so fucked. Like,
oh yeah, and I love the fact that your parents are going to hear this story. I mean, like, so
I'm sure
that's what happened when you stayed home or didn't come home from college that one time.
Well, my parents could not have been proud of me in the initial. Like, they were really proud that I got into college because, like, I was like the first kid to get into college and go to college, but like my sophomore year, they were very disappointed because I dropped like 3 of my 5 classes, and I was not getting A's the other 2. It was like an A and a C.
Yeah.
And so like, it's like 6 hours of classwork a week, and like for half of the school year, and they were paying for everything, and it's like, it's like they could not have been pleased. And it took me like 4.5 years to finish college, but I did it, but whew, that was a ride. So, we were wild in college, and it was like, pre everything. So like, everyone did horrible things, but none of it is on the internet. So
Thank goodness. Can you imagine? Jesus, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
We talk about that all the time. Me and my brother were like, dude, if fucking social media was around when we were kids, oh my God, we would have been in so much trouble. Just
nobody would be able to be in about politics. Nobody.
Oh, dude, it was just stupid, stupid. So outside of the concert this week, how's the shop going?
Well, I've been really the last weekend I was really productive. I got a lot done. I finally started my TIE fighter table, which I'm so excited about that. Yeah, so it's been really good. I haven't really had any shop time this week because work has been, just bothering me enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been good though. But
you did you did something new. You
I
changed,
did.
Yeah. You 3D printed. You were changing up your 3D printed the thumbs up.
Oh yeah. The thumbs up thing. Yeah. I did design another one of those and I printed it. But I still have to finish more TIE Fighter stand orders before I actually can print a run of those and put it out there. But I think it's a cool design. It's the thumbs up. The funny thing is I test printed a little. I don't think you could probably see it. It's just the fist.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see like if you needed to print it with supports.
Yeah.
And you don't really. Maybe I'm gonna try it with it just to see what the difference is. But I have this little thumbs up, and I keep going to Bubs. I'm like, hey Bubs, I just want to give you a little thumbs up, and then I'll hand it to him, and he's just like, he just thinks that's hilarious. He's like,
it's fucking great.
So, but yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but over that, it's been a busy week, but I've cleared the runway so I could get into the shop tomorrow, and this weekend is gonna be a lot of fun for me. So I've got the weekend that every dad wants coming up this weekend. So my wife is going on a girls trip, and my kids are gonna be at my parents' house.
I love that you ship your kids out whenever your wife leaves.
Yeah.
Whenever your wife leaves, you're like, all right, kids, go to grandma's. So that way you have a weekend to yourself. That's a very smart idea.
Well, and it's funny. So like we're going. So that's this weekend, and I got a buddy coming to a buddy who's going to crash at my house, and we're going to build him a stand for his fish tank. He's got a giant fish tank. He needs a new base for.
Salt or freshwater?
Freshwater.
Freshwater. Okay. Because that salt,
but he's gonna
the salt tanks can get really, really expensive. Maintenance wise, I'm saying.
Yeah, his tank is freshwater. It's fresh. He's gonna do freshwater, but he's got like this whole like plant ecosystem he's gonna put in there.
Oh yeah.
Where he tells me that when he like changes the water in there, his wife will use the water as water for her plants, and it's like crack cocaine for those things. They like explode. So,
well, I'm assuming because all the fish have been shitting in that water. So that turns it into fucking fertilizer, right? Perfect fertilizer.
Oh, he's like I could bottle this stuff and sell it, and I'm like cool, man. Just give us a jug of shitty water, and I'll see what that does to our plants. But yeah. So we're gonna.
They might want to think of a different name than jar of shitty water. That might not sell as well.
Look, I'm not marketing this stuff. It's apparently in such high demand. He can call it whatever he wants to, and like it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so that's this weekend, and then next weekend is incredible. We're going to Denver, and but you will not believe the plan for Denver. It's incredible. So we're going to Denver, and my wife like knows she's got a work thing on Monday and Tuesday, so we're flying out Friday and we're coming back Wednesday, and we're bringing the kids with us, and she put the kids into ski school for Saturday and Sunday, so they're going to be learning how to ski. And like ski school with kids, the parents aren't with them, right?
Yeah.
And my wife knows that like when it comes to skiing, I like the opera ski more than the actual skiing. Do you know what the opera ski is?
No. What's the opera ski? Is that what
Okay,
it's
so
opera ski? Is you said? Am I saying that right?
I'm 80% sure I'm saying it right. It's
Okay.
opera ski. Okay?
Opera ski. Okay.
But I think it's like a French term or something. So I'm sure I'm like butchering it, the way you say it. But basically what it means is that like once you spend a day out skiing, like you've built up this appetite. So it's like after you ski, you go sit there and eat and drink for hours, right? Because you've been riding all day. So I like to skip right to the drinking and eating in the lodge.
Okay.
So-
Okay. That's fancy
Yeah.
skiing. I've never been fancy skiing before. We've only
Yeah.
gone skiing where you go skiing and you're done skiing, you go get in the car and drive down the mountain back home. We've never done fancy skiing where you go feast
Ugh.
afterwards.
Well, after the disaster of our trip that we took to Park City, where we both went skiing, I don't think my wife's gonna ever ask me to ski again. So, because of oh god, dude, we were out in Park City, and like we were skiing the green slopes. That's like a one chairlift trip the whole time, right? And she's like, "Don't you want to do something more challenging?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Come on, let's go." And I'm like, I really don't want to go to the top of this mountain, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm really concerned, like, how am I going to get down? So she's like, let's go. I'm like, fine. I'm like, I told you I'd do whatever you want to do. I'll try anything. I don't care. So we get on the chairlift and we go to like the where it stops to get the green off, and then we get on another chairlift, okay? And this second chairlift is considerably older and ricketier and it's like you're on this thing for a good 15, 20 minutes and you're like, where the fuck are we going? And I got skis on my feet and like, this is uncomfortable, right? And then you get off the chairlift, right? And then you go like 50 feet and then it's like a 45-degree drop down.
Oh my god.
Okay. And then you have to make a hard right or a hard left. And if you make a hard right, it's to the blue slopes, which are supposed to be intermediate.
Yep.
Or the left is the black slopes.
the black diamonds. Yeah.
The black diamonds. Yeah. And then, but if you go straight, you go down a cliff, right? So I ride down to the bottom and I try to make the turn and I fell, okay? And I couldn't get back up without like taking my skis off. And like, then I went some more and I fell again and I almost couldn't get up. It was really hard for me to do. And like the whole time she's like, you got this and you're encouraging. I'm like, babe, I love you. Like you could just go. Like just fucking leave me up here.
Yeah.
This is my home now on the top of this mountain. And like it took me like 2 hours to ski down or roll or slide
Oh
or
my
whatever I
God.
was doing to get down to the green part. And then I get to the green part, I'm like, this part's great. I enjoy this. It's not challenging at all. I'm like, this is nice. But like she was just like, she didn't even ask me one time. She's like, do you want to go skiing? So she booked all this time for the kids and she booked skiing lessons for herself, but she didn't book anything for me. And she's like, what are you going to do with yourself like when we're all skiing for 2 days? And I was like, I would not worry about that if I were you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
don't worry about me. I'll be
Yeah.
fine.
I'm like, you just tell me where I need to go, and I'll get there a few hours early and just start pre-gaming. I'm like, that's what I need to know. So I'm going to have like 2 days in Denver, like at least a few hours of the day at least, where it's just me by myself putzing around. So I don't know what I'm going to get into.
Oh, I know where you're going to get into. I mean, there's
Oh, yeah.
freaking some of the most amazing dispensaries are in Denver. So I have a
I
feeling
am going to go on a
that's-
dispensary crawl.
Yeah,
That's going to be a
that's-
thing.
It's kind of figured where you would be.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. I kind of I was when you started with the whole skiing thing, I was trying to fit into the question of where your level of skiing is, but you've definitely answered that for me. So
Yeah. Like if you enjoy skiing, let me do you a favor right now and just tell you don't invite me because I'll ruin it for you. Like the whole idea that you'll be going down the slopes and enjoying yourself is going to be overshadowed by the fact that I'm trying not to die. Like, so
I started skiing when I was in high school, and I skied for maybe 4 times, and then I made the switch to snowboarding. And
yeah,
I snowboarded ever since then.
And it looks cool. And like, if I had any athletic ability, like I think like I
didn't
could
think
enjoy
skiing. That didn't scream Luke. I for some
No.
reason I just golf. I could see you playing golf, maybe racquetball.
Golf is boring to me, but I play it. It's funny. I'm almost as the 2 buddies that I normally go, or the 3. I usually go golfing. It's usually with my brother.
Do you ruin their day?
Yes, but it's not from bad golfing.
Oh,
it's
okay.
just because I love being a dick to them on the golf course. But and I'm not taking any of it seriously. Whereas like when we go golfing, like my brother, he's got like the Happy Gilmore where he could just like drive it like almost 300 yards.
Yeah.
But his game after that's very hit or miss. And then I got another buddy who he's decent at golf. And then I've got my 3rd buddy, Paul. He has the most athletic ability out of any of us, but he's the worst golfer. And at least he used to be. I don't know if he is now because we haven't golfed in like 3 years. But he'll crush the ball and it looks amazing, but it'll go like 200 yards straight and 100 yards to the left. Right?
Yeah.
It's like a big hook thing.
He's
and
got
like
a wicked slice.
Yeah, and like I just shoot it down the middle, and then I like to tell him like, you realize because I'm beating you in golf, I'm a better athlete than you are. Right? And he hates me saying, because he likes to think of himself as an athlete, and the idea that me who's clearly not an athlete is like I'm better at sports than you are, Paul. Sorry, he just hates that. He's like, so yeah, I'm a dick on the golf course. I'm just there to ruin other people's games and to get drunk. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. What have you been up to, dude? What's your week been going? I feel like I've been talking the whole time.
You have. This is the edition of the Luke version of this podcast.
Well, if you look at our reviews that we got for the podcast, there was that one that says, "I love Ben and that other guy." So like, maybe people do need to get to know me. This is your show and I'm the guest.
No. That's that was my brother-in-law, by the way. I went and looked at that review just to find out who it was, and so yeah, there you go. You're still
perfect.
You're still a star, bro. Don't worry.
So in your family, people don't know me except for your one brother.
My immediate family knows you. He's actually really close to you. He's in Detroit. The guy we're talking about, Kent.
Well, he is not invited over. All right, Kent. No.
No, I've been actually in the shop this week doing some stuff. I finished a mallet that I started that mallet handle last week, where I was using the draw knife and I was, working on that. And I decided once I finished it, I was going to actually turn it into a mallet, which I did. I turned it into a mallet, finished it up. I'm sending that over to my boy Lucas over at Man Made MA because we did a swap, a little maker swap. He made me oh damn it, I don't have it on me, but he made
the keychain thing.
Yeah, he made me one of those carabiners that he makes out of brass.
I bought one.
Oh, you bought one? That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I just got it. It's really cool,
dude. I love it. I use it now. I put it on my keys, and it's fucking great. I love it. But and he puts your little initials on it, and he stamps them with the number. I'm number 41. What number are you? Do you know?
I didn't even notice there was initials on there or a stamp thing, so I gotta go look at that.
Yeah. So, I did a swap with him. He sent me the keychain. I'm sending him the mallet. I haven't mailed it yet. It's actually right here. Oh, right here.
Oh, nice.
Got his logo lasered on it and ours on the back. And here's the handle, how it turned out. And
I think it looks great, dude.
Yeah, for my first time, I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, so I did that this week, and then I've been doing some other things. I've been cleaning up in the shop. Oh, I made a pair of hardwood jaws for my vise because I was using the vise to do the draw knife or to when I was using the draw
Yeah,
knife, I had the knife or the piece of wood clamped in this vise. But when I took the vise, or I opened the vise up to take the piece out to look at it and whatnot, I noticed it had the indentations, the markings
Oh
from the
yeah,
hard jaws that are on the vise. And obviously they're for grip, but
yeah.
I didn't like how they left the markings on the thing I was taking so delicate care of. So I was talking to Lucas about it, and he was like, why don't you try making some hardwood jaws? Because I've never seen anybody do that, and that would solve the problem because it would be a nice smooth surface. So I did. I had a piece of ironwood. I cut the jaws the same size and dimensions and whatnot, and then I screwed them on, and it looks awesome, dude. I have to say, it looks really well. And I haven't tried it out yet. I did clamp a piece of wood into it today or yesterday, but I haven't actually tried to use the draw knife on it yet. So I'm curious
Mhm.
to see if the wood's going to slip while I'm doing it. But yeah, so I did that, and I did the mallet, and then
You know
what
what would be
else?
really good for the jaws on that thing is you should get Bryce to make you some of that recycled plastic that you could cut into jaws.
That's actually a good idea. I should talk to Bryce about that. I never thought about that because for different, I was
Because
what
he
I'm
could easily, like, all you'd have to do is take the vice parts that you have, and like I'm sure he can make a mold from that.
Oh yeah. No, he could for sure. I'm sure he probably actually already has a vice down there. He could do it for him.
A-
It would
And
probably
he has
match
the
up.
time. He
Oh, he
has the
definitely has the
time.
time. He's not doing anything else.
Yeah, Bryce doesn't do anything. So
He's either on Clubhouse or he's hanging with his daughter. Oh, I
yeah.
mean, other
Or
than
no,
that,
or doing push-ups.
or doing push-ups. That's right, or pull-ups. One of the
Yeah,
two. Four things.
I
One of
love
those.
Bryce.
Waffle
Yeah,
beaver.
yeah. If you want to check Bryce out, he's doing some amazing work recycling plastics. So,
Yeah, I don't even think he listens to this
uh,
podcast, so it
no,
doesn't matter. He's never
no,
going to hear this.
he's never. Wait, he recycles plastic and he starts stuff on Instagram or Clubhouse.
Yes, he starts
He
conversations.
starts. Yeah, he's the fire starter. But yeah, so that's cool. So
Speaking
and
of
then
speaking of Clubhouse, real quick, I wanted to mention something.
yeah,
I we were talking earlier, and you were actually jumping in a room earlier today to work on your social media tips and whatnot, trying to figure out some information about how to grow your account organically and stuff.
yeah,
And I thought that was interesting. The idea, that's such a resource that I don't think any of us really take advantage of. I mean, there are maybe some people do. I know I see Paul from 1116 Woodworking. He's always in photography
mhm.
outside of our club. He's always in photography rooms and trying to better himself there. But I was just trying to think of things that or just think of it in a sense of a tool that we don't utilize enough. You know what I mean? Like I loved the fact that you jumped into that room today, and it just was like very inspiring, and it made me think like, damn man, I don't utilize that app to its full potential. I mean, I use it every day to go in and hang out with our friends and bullshit and fucking,
Yeah,
come up with cool ideas and stuff like that. It's a great community for that. But I think outside of our room, there's so many people on there that, have so much knowledge that I just don't take advantage of. So I don't know. It's just a side note.
yeah.
Just a side note I was throwing out there.
Yeah, it was a interesting. I'm glad I did it, and I think I'm gonna do it more because honestly, look, any success that I've had on Instagram is by luck. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I have a strategy, but God, I don't know if it works or not. And like, so I figure, like, hey, like, there's some of these people out there that call themselves coaches for social media, and they're making money doing it. So clearly, it has to have some value to it. So I was like, why not? And like, maybe these guys can help me understand what I'm not getting.
No,
So
definitely, definitely. I think it's smart. I think it's very smart. That's why I was just wanted to mention it because I don't think we utilize it in a way that benefits us enough, other than just on there bullshitting and hanging out with our friends. So
yeah,
I don't know if anybody else goes through this, but I kind of go through it. Or I'm going through it right now as far as like trying to. I'm always I find myself complaining that I'm not selling anything. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and you, and you myself, like I was like, oh yeah, I'm complaining to Debbie, I'm not selling anything. I'm complaining to other people, I'm not selling any things, and you, you were like somebody who I talk to like every day, who I interact with every day, who I see every day, who sees my account every day. You basically just straight up told me like, I wouldn't even know you sell products with how your account, with how you know, talk about your account. You know what I mean? You don't talk about things you sell. You don't talk about, you know, idea, you know, you're not telling people you're selling things. It made me think that why am I not selling anything? Why, what is the reason I'm not selling? And just plainly, bluntly, right in front of my face, I looked at the one thing that where I sell, where I'm trying to sell is on Etsy. When's the last time I posted on Etsy? A fucking over a year ago, maybe. I mean, it's
Your
been,
listings have expired due to old age.
they have, bro. Like I was looking at that today. I was like, oh my God, I have like, there's like 20 listings on there of old signs and stuff that me and Debbie have
Oh,
made
yeah,
that have, they've never
ev-
even, that aren't even on there anymore. They've totally expired.
well, like people who know you will say like, "Oh, Ben makes cutting boards and mallets. You know, he sells a lot of those, right?" And like, if you went and are like, "Well, I'm interested in buying a cutting board from Ben because I like Ben and his podcast is hilarious with whoever that other dude is."
Yep.
Like I wouldn't even know how to begin to like see the kinds of cutting boards you make or like what
Yeah.
you might charge for them. That's why like with my strategy, I have the TIE fighter stands, which are great. You know, they serve a purpose. They're cool and they're under $50. So the decision to buy something like that, it doesn't take a lot of brain power. You know,
Yeah. I just don't think I'm hawking my goods. You know what I mean? I'm not out there trying
and
to, and talking about it. I'm not like, and maybe that's because I didn't want to, I don't really like, I don't know, like, I don't want to come off as like a sale, like I'm trying to sell stuff. But then I think about you. I think about Trevor, our buddy from Interior Design, who sells a bunch of stuff. You sell a bunch of stuff. Like when you say you're selling something, people line up to buy it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm dropping this, and then you get sales from it. Trevor the same way. Oh, I'm turning. He'll haven't even finished turning the bowl, and he'll have sold it already. You know what I mean?
yeah, like I haven't even started the carving or the like I barely started the process on making another batch of mallets, right? Of
Yeah.
those ones with the transparent cores.
Yeah.
And like I know I had two maker swap trades that I've done for mallets. One is international, which I'm excited about. I'm trading Mark Daner a mallet. And
That's really
then
cool.
yeah, you know, and like him and I, like we team up a lot, and I try to help him out as much as I can. I think him and his whole Aussie crew are awesome. So like I'm trading one with him, and I got somebody else who I traded one for, but I sold one. The guy paid me today, and it's the most amount of money that like the amount of work that goes in those mallets is it's hard to price because
Yeah.
essentially what I'm doing is I'm making a cutting board and then 3D carving it, applying epoxy to it, and then redoing it. So I'm like it's got to be more money than the
Yes.
cost of like it's got to be like double the money of the cost of a cutting board. So like when you say like, hey, my mallet is going to be, you know, like really to be worth it is $150.
Yeah.
Like I feel bad asking for that, but like there are people out there clearly I proved it that are like, yo, like $150 is worth it, and here's my money, I'll pay you, and I haven't even seen it, you know. And what's the interesting part about the deal I made out with this guy is I said, look, I'm gonna make I think out of this batch I'm gonna make either 4 or 6, depending on how much wood I have. And if I make 6, you know, he's the second person in my batch. So I'm going to tell him, like, hey, look, here's the one that so and so picked ahead of you, and you get to pick of the remaining 5 which one you want.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
So
neat.
it's like, he's going to be in this club with the 5 people who got that. And it's like I you know, Ryder from Ryder Custom Creations got one of my mallets. And one of the things he said is that he's like, I'm mallet bros with Mike Alm. Because Mike Alm
Yeah,
got
yeah,
the
yeah.
other mallet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like I'm like that's something I didn't even consider, you know.
Well,
So it's like
it's kind of cool in the sense for your stuff, especially because I look at you as like a hybrid woodworker slash artist in a sense, right? So you're creating these one of a kind pieces that or not necessarily one of a kind, but minimal runs of things that you do. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
making small batches of things and you're selling them. So when you create some sort of demand for your items, you know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, I'm only making 5 of these. You want one of these 5 things, boom, you can buy it now, but I might not be making those again. You know what I mean? So it's like it is kind of it creates some sort of a demand, and it's really kind of cool because it's like it's in an artist way. You're creating something that people are going to buy, and you're not necessarily there's going to be a lot of them for other people to have. So it makes them kind of niche. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I think that like if I've figured it out with these pattern plywood mallets, because I was this whole experiment I'm running is how many can I yield off of specific amounts of wood that I start with, you know?
Yeah.
And so like my plan is that once all these are sold, I'm gonna do another run of my original mallet because my original plywood mallet is the best. I mean, in terms of like an everyday mallet, that mallet is amazing. I use one all the time. So I've tested it myself. The few people that I've sold them to, you have one.
Yep.
They've all told me they're like, dude, this is a solid mallet. You know, like this, you've got a great design here. And like, so I'm going to do another batch of like 10 of those. And look, I maybe twice a year I'll do that, you know, and then like maybe 4 times a year I'll do the other mallet, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, that's as many of those as I'll produce. And if somebody wants them, they can pay for one. And if they don't, cool. Like, you know, if you still want to support me, like there's an infinite number of ways. Even my Venmo is on my link in my, Instagram bio. So if you just want to send me cash, like, cool, go for it.
That'd be awesome.
Look, you want to buy me a cup of coffee? My Venmo's on there. Go for it.
That's so cool. I love that idea. I'm gonna do the same thing. No, but yeah. So getting back to what I was originally talking about, even though you stole my time again,
That's what I'm doing.
posting on Etsy. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what I need to do to get my products in front of people, and as simple as just actually posting my products on Etsy. So today, I'm proud to say I got 3 new items up on Etsy to buy. And this isn't all about, oh, let's buy Ben's stuff. I'm just talking about things that are, you know, it clicked in my head finally. Why aren't you selling things, Ben? It's because you're not fucking telling people that you're selling things. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so simple. It's so simple. It's like that song that you, or that clip, the audio clip that people use on their reels. Like, you got to post about your products. If you want people to buy your products, you got to post about your products. You know what I mean? If you want people to know about them, you know, it's the same fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's like this song that's on the reel I posted today. It's like, you got to show up if you want to get paid. You got to show up if you want to get paid. I think
true.
That's how it went.
It's very true.
Ben, you're just not showing up. That's why you're not getting paid, bro.
Yeah, well, that's something I'm trying to fix. That's going to be my goal this year, because I see these people having the success that I want to have, and I feel like my products are good enough that I should be able to sell them as well. You know what I mean? Like that's what it comes down to. I mean, I see other people selling their stuff, and not to take away from anything they're making, because everybody makes beautiful things, but I feel like my quality of product is just good enough, or as good enough as theirs. So why am I not selling? And I realized the problem, and I fixed it today. So let's see how it works moving forward. I'm excited.
Nice work, dude. So wait, I have not paid any attention. How are we doing on time?
Oh, we're way over. We are.
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah. But it's all good, dude. It's our podcast. We can go over as long as we want.
We didn't even talk about like what we ate this week or what we watched or like.
Nope. Your brother, or your brother, your son's story that we wanted to get to. You haven't got to that.
Oh, that's a quick one.
All right, let's hear the Bub story.
I got a good Bubs and Ellie story. Okay, so so the kids are taking Spanish in school, you know, and
wait, dual immersion or just like
no, they have a Spanish class.
Okay,
yeah,
it's so weird. You go to your kids go to a bougie school, man.
They do. So they do, and it's great. They're gonna hopefully be smarter. Look, if they grow up almost as smart as my wife or as smart as my wife, like they're gonna be off to a great start.
I love it.
But yeah, so but so they're taking Spanish, and my daughter asked Google, like she's like, ask the Google thing. She's like, you know, what's my name in Spanish? and they said Google said your name is Ella, right? So then they start doing all of their names, right? All the kids are asking Google what their name is in Spanish, right? At least I think this is how it started.
Yeah.
I did not see this part. The part that I saw was they're like, Dad, guess what Bub's name is in Spanish? And I'm like, I don't know. She goes, boobs. And Bub's like looks at me, he goes, my name is not boobs. And I'm like, what boobs? He was like, stop saying that. My name isn't boobs. And I'm like, oh my God.
Boobs. He will be forever known as Boobs on this podcast now.
Yeah, and the Ellie story is a quick one too, where oh my God, dude, this girl is a real problem, right? She's too smart for her own good. So, so she was supposed to be talking to my mom on FaceTime, and I look at her phone and she's playing games, right? And I know that like she was talking to my mom, and then I look at the phone and she's playing games, and I say, hey, what happened to Grandma? And she goes, well, I told her I'd call her right back. I go, well, you're not calling her right back. I'm like, you're looking at the phone and you're playing games. You're clearly, that has nothing to do with Grandma. And she was like, well, I told her, it'd be a minute. I said, look, Ellie, and this is where I came in dad style. And I'm like, look, if you want to have a strong character, part of that is if you say you're going to do something, that you do it. Otherwise, people won't believe you do it. Right? So if you want people to trust you, you have to do what you say. And she looks at me straight in the face. She goes, so is that kind of like when you go to the bathroom and you say you'll be in there for a minute, but you're in the bathroom for much longer? Right?
She's calling you on it.
I was like, you little shit. So I look at her with seriously. And then she looks at me and she did a little evil smirk. She goes, was that not the point you were trying to make, Dad? I was like, oh my God.
Dude, it's dangerous when your kids get to a certain age, man, because like Penny's the same way, dude. She's right at the same age. 8.
Savage.
She's 8, and yeah, dude, you can no longer play these little mind games with them like you could when they were 5, 4, and 5 and stuff. Like, because now they're smarter than you think, man. They're so much smarter than you think. And yeah, that's hilarious, dude. I'm so glad she called you on your shit, dude. That's so fucking great.
Dude, she calls me out all the time. And then and I hear my dad tell me all the time, you always give me shit about everything. And I'm like, yeah, because you deserve it. And I look at my daughter. She's giving me shit about everything. I'm like, what did I do to you? Chill out.
Full circle, dude. It's the same reason. Like our kids, I love the fact that your dad said that. Debbie's mom does the same thing. She just loves laughing at me whenever I get frustrated with the kids, or I tell my dad a story about the kids, and my dad just chuckles, and he's just like, it all comes full circle, bud. It all comes full circle. But the funny thing, or not the funny thing, but I tell my kids the same thing all the time. I tell them, look, you got one thing in this life that you can totally control yourself, and that's being honest and doing what you say you're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You yourself are the only person who can control that, and that's something that nobody can take away from you. Dude, we're way over on time. This has been a great episode as always.
Honest guy, we never get to half of the things that we want to talk about.
I know.
I think though that this time I definitely monopolized most of the time with stupid stories. So
no, it's all good, man. That's the whole point of this thing, dude. So
dude, people are gonna be hitting me up this week telling me their random drug stories. I'm like, oh, I tried huffing nitro in the back of a van. I'm like, oh great, let me hear about this.
Dude. Patreon.
Yes.
We have now grown to 3 Patreon follower or members or donators or however you want to call it. Let's shout them out.
Yeah. So okay. Our OG Patreon was Kyle Foot. So thank you, Kyle, again.
Kyle, yes, from Footwork Woodworks.
Yeah, Foot Time Woodworking.
Foot Clan.
Yeah. And then my buddy, I keep forgetting to ask him if he prefers Matt or Matthew from the Wooden Mustache.
And we got to also figure out how to say his last name, because I think it's very rude of us to not figure out how to say his last name.
Well, I told him, I'm like, I brought you up at the podcast, but I don't know how to say your last name. And then he phonetically spelled it out, but I did not read it. I just kept moving on. So
great.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I ask him this week.
yeah. And then our newest one is Lee. My boy Lee from Regal Street. Apparently, if you give somebody a shout out on this podcast, they become a Patreon. So everybody who we've mentioned on this podcast, make sure to sign up for our Patreon at the maximum value. So
We should next week. We'll just come out with a list. We'll just start reading people's names.
yep, people who owe us money. Here you go. But Lee is awesome, dude. His content makes me jealous most of the time because he's a much better woodworker than I am. But Lee is awesome.
Yeah, no, I love Lee.
Thank
He's
you, Lee.
great. He always blows me away with things that he comes up with, and yeah, and he's a funny dude. And his story, his videos on Fridays are just fucking so good, dude. They're just the best. They're getting better and better every day. But anyways, Matt,
and lastly,
what?
The poll of from last week, which was is a hamburger a sandwich? Only your family said you were right.
No. You're a fucking liar. You're a big liar. I
destroyed you though. I mean,
you did destroy me. I will give you that much. Everybody sided with you for the most part. But I did I screenshotted the picture of so 11 Paul from 1116 Woodworks. A hamburger is a sandwich, so is a hot dog. Your boy Dave at 3D DIY Dave, a hamburger is a sandwich. Also, a panini is a sandwich. I don't know why he felt the need to clarify that one. But
I mean, he just had a kid, so he's probably not sleeping. So.
Your boy Turg from Turg Works, our fabulous intro and outro voiceover man. He agreed with me, so that's one for me.
Yeah, but they don't have hamburgers in the UK, so I don't know what he knows he's talking about. So
what? That's bullshit. And I think how I really win this competition is our friend Patsy from Dobbs Design Co., who has her own cooking show on Instagram. She has her own cooking show. She simply just wrote Ben, so she obviously sided.
Did you realize that everybody who said no one said that a burger is not a sandwich? They either said Ben or a burger's a sandwich. They didn't say like Luke was. So a couple people said Luke is right, but everybody who voted on your side voted for you over me, not for the burger sandwich thing. So
what can I say, man? I'm a fan favorite by definition.
You are very likable.
Both are in the sandwich category, but are subcategories of themselves. That's from Blue Tick Woodworks. To finish this out, our boy Keith at Blackthorn Concepts actually said my side, the one Luke agrees with, aka the correct stance. And then your boy Dave Miller also supported you.
Dude, Dave Miller is. Look, I love Dave. I would love Dave to be my boy, but I always thought Dave was your boy.
He is my boy, but he obviously is not right all the time. You know what I mean? He can't be right all the time, I guess. That's
I mean, there's a lot of wisdom in that beard of his. So, like, if you dug into his beard, you'd find wisdom in there.
Yeah,
so
that and some Oreo cookies. I'm kidding.
So.
Dave, no, not really. Dave looks great. He's lost so much weight this year. It's crazy. Anyways, dude, outside of the Patreon shout outs, any other shout outs you got for this week?
Yeah. I got 2 this week. And they're both people I collabed with this week. Yeah. So, and I look forward to your Patreon support soon. Andrew Zetto, from Zetto. I did a voiceover for his video, which I loved, and I got the best comments off of it. And then Trevor from Madeira Designs, I made him a rolling pin blank, and I sent him a video, and he had this idea for a video, and I sent it to him so long ago I forgot I recorded it. And when he produced it, I was like, "Where'd you get that video of me?" I'm like, that's cool. Like, my beard is a different length. I'm like,
yeah. It was a great video. Okay. So big shout outs to your 2 collab mates this week.
Yeah. So if you want to get a shout out, either pay us or do a collab with me.
Collab with Luke.
Yeah. So.
Oh Jesus, dude, that's too funny, man. Okay, so my turn. I'm gonna shout out my boy Lucas at Man Made MA. who swapped with me this week, but that's not the reason why. Him and his lovely girl Dre over at Crass with Dre, who you guys know from our Thursday night lives on In the Shop. You guys can check that out tonight. We'll be live. Anyways, they're actually doing something.
It's not tonight when this podcast comes out.
Oh, that's right. Damn it! It was last night. You missed it. Where were you? But
and Dre just got featured on Total Boat's website.
I know, dude.
A beautiful article about it.
So cool, dude. Very, very well written. You guys should go check that out if you guys have time, or make time because Dre's awesome. So they're doing a fundraiser right now for. There's a young lady, Layla, 6-year-old, who is a friend of their friends, a child of some of their friends, and she's actually going through something horrible right now. She was diagnosed with kidney cancer, and she just went through all the treatments and the surgeries, and they removed a 3-pound tumor out of her.
God.
3 pounds in a 6-year-old. I mean, that's a big tumor. And so anyways, they're trying to do something cool to raise money to help support the family and stuff. And so they're doing they're selling stickers. Well, they basically got a group of makers together who all donated pieces that they created, and the hashtag is Boots for the Butterfly because her nickname is Butterfly, and so they all created butterfly themed projects. And what you can do is you can go on Lucas's so you go to the Etsy page for Lucas at Man-Made in MA. And you can go on his Etsy store and you can support them by buying either a $5 butterfly waffle sticker or a $10 butterfly waffle sticker. And once you purchase those, you're entered into a waffle. It's their take on a raffle. They're calling it a waffle. And so if you go, or a waffle, I don't know exactly.
I want waffles.
I know, so do I. But if you go on there, you guys can check out, you can support them, buy a sticker, and then go each one of your stickers you buy, you get an entry into this contest to win some of these items from these other makers. So it's a really cool way to support this and raise money for Layla, who is battling cancer, so kidney cancer, which is horrible. So let's do what we can, guys. Go out there and support that. And we really appreciate any support that gets from this podcast. We appreciate it.
That's great, Ben. I feel like my shout-outs are very selfish now. Thank you for letting me
No, whatever, man. Whatever.
No, but that's a great cause, and you guys should definitely go check it out. It's worth looking into. And
again, Man-Made in MA, the Etsy store. If you go on his account on Instagram, that's man with 2 N's, MANN. Made in MA. Go do his link on his page, and you can find his Etsy store and support the cause, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up, dude.
Yeah, let's get out of here on this note. You guys, thanks again for tuning in. Go check us out on Instagram at thejointery podcast. We're all over.
Dude, you don't need to do all this. Our outro does it already for us.
Oh, that's right. Go check us out on YouTube too.
Look, you just got to wait for me to say balls, 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 and then we're out.
This has been a ConMan creative production. Text us anytime at 908 768 2664 or send us a message on our Instagram, thejointery podcast. You can find Ben at Conderosa Creations or Luke at Luke in the Garage, everywhere that social media is sold. That's garage, not garage. Say it properly.